So we're going to be talking about how to graph an inequality. And in this case, you're going to be looking at if it is a less than or greater than, it's going to be an open circle. If it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, it's going to be a closed circle because you're now including that number. And we're also going to incorporate interval notation. So if you use that closed circle, you're going to actually use brackets, and we'll talk about that in a second. If you have an open circle, so you're not including that number, it's going to be parentheses. And anytime you use negative infinity or infinity, you're going to use parentheses. So we're going to look at our first problem. So we have 4 is less, or y is less than 4. So we are going to make our number line. So we want to put, I normally put 4 in the middle because that's what we're showing. Okay, so we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to fill out the rest of the number line. And then I have 3, 2, 1, 0, -1. So because it's a less than symbol, I'm going to use an open circle because we are not including 4. And I want every value that is less than 4. So in this case, you could say that 1 is less than 4. So we do want it facing this way. So all of these values are less than 4. So how you write that as in interval notation is that you're going to write negative infinity, comma, 4, parenthesis. So it is going more negative, so it's using all of the negative values, infinity, and then it goes, you always want to read it to left to right, so it's negative infinity to a open circle 4, so we're not including 4, so that's why we have a parenthesis. So in this case, we have b is greater than -2.2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up my number line. I want to make sure it's always in numerical order, so it's least to greatest. So in this case, we want to make it -2.1, -2.0, -1.9, -1.8. So then I have -2.3, -2.4, and so on. So because it's greater than -2.2, I want to put a open circle on -2.2, and I want a number that's greater. So in this case, -1.8 would be greater. So I want to draw the arrow facing this way. I always want to write my interval notation from left to right. So I first start off with -2.2, and I write it with a parenthesis because we're not including it, comma, and because we're making it more positive and we're going infinity, we want to make sure it's a positive infinity and a parenthesis because next to an infinity symbol is always a parenthesis. So in this case, we have g is less than or equal to 5. So I'm going to fill out my number line. So I want to make sure that it's a less than or equal to. So I want to make sure it's a closed circle. And I want to find a number that is less than or equal to 5. In that case would be 0. So I want it to face this way. I always write my interval notation left to right. So it would be a negative infinity because I'm going towards the negative values, comma, 5, and because it's including it, we want to put that bracket because that's stating that it is including 5. So it's either equal to 5 or less than 5. So we're going to do the same thing. So we have x is greater than or equal to 1/2. So I'm going to make sure I put 1/2, 1, 1 and 1/2, 2, 2.5, 0, -1.5, -1, -1.5, and -2. So I'm now going to put a closed circle on 1/2, and I want all values that are greater than 1/2, so that would be facing this way, because 2.5 is greater than 1/2. So in this time I want to read left to right, so I'm going to write a bracket because I'm including 1/2, comma, a positive infinity because I'm getting greater and I have all the greater numbers than 1/2, and then I have my parenthesis.